Panthers Nation, what up, dude? It's Aaron Duncan here, bringing you Panthers news today, brought to you by Unnecessary Bluntness Sports Talk. This is the channel where I might not tell you what you want to hear, but I'm definitely going to tell you what you need to hear. We give recap and analysis of the Panthers all day long, so make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss anything. But in today's video, we have a plethora of topics to talk about because it was the first day of full pass in Panthers training camp. We have to reflect on a couple things going on, a couple of new headlines that actually came out of today's practice that I want to talk about and get you guys' thoughts on. So, of course, I got chapters spread out for all the topics, so you can skip around if you like, but I advise you to stick around for everything. That way you can give me your opinion and feel free to chime in because I'll give you the news, I'll give you my thoughts on it, but I'm going to want your thoughts too so we can engage and talk about it in the comments because we're getting close to the season and our squad is getting ready to wreak havoc on this NFL. So let's go ahead and get into the first headline. So before I get too deep into this Panthers news, I got to give a big time shout out to our newest patron, Oh Brother Incorporated. Shout out to you, my man. Giving you a what up, though. Thank you for the support. If you just can't get enough Panthers and you want a little bit more in-depth analysis and discussions and film breakdowns and stuff like that, consider joining the Patreon just like Oh Brother Incorporated and enjoying an elite club with him because he's kicking things off hot and we're going to get things rolling as the season goes on, so consider joining the Patreon. So the big news that came out today, because last week there was a surprise for the first day of camp that our former first-round draft pick Jaycee Horn still has some soreness in his foot because of the conditioning test. Obviously, we know he had the procedure done on his foot that he hurt last year, which shortened his rookie year, and he's been working pretty hard this offseason. So it was a little bit of surprise and a little bit of concern from fans and obviously the staff when Jaycee Horn was not able to start off camp as a full participant. Nevertheless, he was released off the PUP list, yes, the PUP list today. He was in full pass with the team. Granted, he didn't just go in guns blazing. He worked on the side. He did some individual work, as you can see, and he also was on the bike for some team periods. Didn't do anything super competitive, but being able to put some pressure on the foot, like I said before in my previous video, it's not necessarily about how you go through that first day with pain. It's about how your body responds after going through that stress and how it recovers. We'll see how he feels tomorrow for practice, if there's any soreness, and how they kind of ramp up his work capacity, but it still is a good sign to get your premier corner off of that injury list and back into things so quickly because it's only been a few practices and he won't miss that much. He's been around, obviously locked in, and you know this guy's competitive, so he's been chomping at the bit to get back on the field. So it's a good thing to get him back on that field today. According to Matt Corral, the doctor said that once the pain was and the soreness cleared from his foot, they thought it would be a good idea to get him going and just go ahead and work up to that capacity. Start slow and build up every day to get him to the point where he has no limitations. Smart plan when it comes from out here. You know, we've had some foot injuries in the past, obviously with Cam Newton and Greg Olsen that may or may not have been handled the proper way. Granted, there was Ryan Vermillion formerly of the Panthers, but currently of the Commanders, who has a little federal indictment that we haven't heard much about. Nevertheless, there is a different training staff here, so it looks like they're going to be taking things slow with JC. Obviously, like I said, he had a procedure. You don't want to rush anything for a guy that's so young and has so much potential, so it's a good thing to really get him back on that field. But obviously, one of the big competitions of this team is the quarterback position, but something else is that left side of that offensive line, our first-round draft pick, Ickey Ekwonu out of North Carolina State. For all intents and purposes, we expect him to be the long-term answer at left tackle, but it seems like he's been taking second-team reps at left tackle, according to Joe Person, and the Panthers fans did not like it. They're thinking, okay, why did we draft him at number 6 if he's going to play guard? It seems like a waste of a pick, but it's not that he's just playing guard. It seems like he's playing left tackle. So that tells me a lot because, one, if they really thought he had potential to play that left guard shot, they either give him second-team left guard reps or first-team left guard reps and give Brady Christensen that left tackle position. We talked about after the draft this being a going concern when it comes to position battles. I made multiple videos on the proper combination that we have up front because you could put Christensen at guard, Michael Jordan at guard, Ickey at left tackle, Brady Christensen at left tackle. Who knows? And you can just move some of these guys around. Matt Corral was questioned about what was the process. Were they just trying to make Ickey Ekwonu earn his position, or was it just Brady Christensen being that much better? And this is what he had to say.
I don't think we're bringing Ickey along slowly. I think, you know, as a rookie, you get opportunities, but you have to earn what you get. You know, you have to fight and battle, and so Ickey's going to have to battle if he wants to be a starter. He certainly wants to be a starter. Ickey's going to have to battle. Brady's going to have to battle. And, you know, we're just taking a very long approach here. We don't need to make these decisions like this week. You know, we can give them some time. And first 4 days, if you're an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, the first 4 days were really, it's like, you know, summer camp. I mean, this is where the football starts. So we'll see them as they go.
But as you can see, Matt Rule said he wouldn't look too far into it because, for one, this is just the first day with pads. Linemen can't really do anything, I said, but a pillow fight without shoulder pads on. And so being able to finally put pads on, things are going to really start to ramp up and we'll really get a look at it. Like Matt Rule alluded to a little bit, with that Saturday's practice, we're back together again with all the fans there. The one thing I noticed is the defense put in a lot of blitz packages and the offensive line did not stand a chance. I don't know if it was just because they haven't worked those things, which I 100% feel like it was. Being through the first couple of days at camp that I was at, I didn't see too many blitzes from the defense. Most of it was very generic, playing a lot of off-man coverage, playing soft coverage in general, and not really blitzing, getting there with 4. Now it seemed like Steve Wilkes and Phil Snow doing what they do, bringing blitzes, bringing exotic blitzes, showing blitzes and backing out, not showing anything and bringing the house, mixing it up, and it really caught the offensive linemen off guard and really made the quarterbacks look bad. But you can tell it's something they really haven't worked on. Today, from what all the reports I hear, the offensive line really cranked things up, especially in the running game, and things are starting to work itself out. There's only certain things you can do in t-shirt and shoulder pads when it comes to the run game because holding is illegal, but offensive linemen still need to grab onto the breastplate of the defensive linemen when they're run blocking and pass blocking to be able to turn them and go whichever way they need them to go. So I agree with Matt Rule here that you really aren't going to get a look at how good an offensive line as a group is or individually until you get shoulder pads on. Now, how these reps work themselves out down the line, we shall see, because for all intents and purposes, Matt Rule has shown that he has some favoritism towards Brady Christensen. And not just because of some bad thing. He really thinks highly of Brady Christensen. He said that he felt like Brady was one of the best players on the team. And Brady Christensen showed some promise in those 3 left tackle spots that he got a chance to play in last year, but it wasn't enough for us to know if he actually is the long-term answer. Some people will be mad if Ickey ends up playing left guard, and some people think that maybe him playing left guard to start and then moving to left tackle later on down the line, which has been floated by the coaching staff, could be a good idea. That way you get the best of both worlds. I am under the impression that I just want the best 5 out there, whether it's Michael Jordan and Ickey, whether it's Michael Jordan, or it's Ickey or Brady Christensen in some combination. I just want the best 5 because our offensive line has struggled for far too long. I don't care about favorites. I don't care who was drafted where. I don't care who's getting paid what. Give me the best 5 and protect whomever is at that quarterback position. You guys let me know down below in the comments, who do you think should be the starting combination on that left side of that offensive line? Do you think it's Jordan, Christensen, Ekwonu and Jordan, or Christensen and Ickey? Let me know down below in the comments what you feel like is the perfect combination on that left side of the offensive line. The next topic we got to talk about, which is basically kind of piggybacking right off that last topic, is competition at the quarterback position. Obviously, we know about Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Matt Corral, P.J. Walker. Now, let's start with Matt Corral, because Matt Corral, obviously, the rookie coming in 3rd round pick, trading for Baker pretty much seemed like they wanted to give Matt Corral plenty of time to get his stuff together before he's ready to be the guy to have a chance to be the franchise quarterback. I think this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing, whatever you want to say, because I told you that 3rd and 4th quarterback position, you're going to get the short end of the reps no matter what. We saw it last year with P.J. Walker and Will Grier splitting those reps. And especially if you have a competitive quarterback matchup like Darnold and Baker, where does the 3rd string guy fit in to get experience? Because unless something goes terribly wrong for the starters, Matt Corral likely won't get to play this year, barring any kind of catastrophic injuries, knock on wood. But some people think that what they saw from Matt Corral, they think that he should get an opportunity. And from what he says from all the reports and what he's been saying in press conferences, he wants to compete for that starting position. He's not here to redshirt or do any of that thing. He wants to push for the starting position. And he even talked about how disappointed he was a little bit about not being able to get quality reps, but he wants to take advantage of every opportunity he has. And he feels like going into preseason stuff like that, he'll be able to show a little bit more of what he has in a more competitive environment. But for the 1 and 2 guys, Darnold and Baker, today, Sam Darnold started with the ones, and a lot of fans were up in arms again. They was, like I said, they were pissed off about it. But Matt Rule said his strategy is to treat it just like last week. Sam Darnold got the first reps last week with the ones, and then the next day they switched it with Baker Mayfield with the ones. And I think that this is not anything out of the ordinary, because you still want to get a good look at both of them. Some people feel like they should go ahead and lean into Baker. That way he gets as much time with the ones as possible. I think time with anybody is going to be good with Baker in general, because he's still learning the system, still picking up on things, still working on figuring out what receiver does what. Even though he has shown some flashes, Baker's still going to take some time to get into things. When Mayfield was asked today what actually starting to click for him, he kind of alluded to the fact that stuff was a little bit out of the ordinary for him in those first couple of weeks, and he didn't pick up on the offense as fast as he would like, but things were starting to slow down. He actually had these comments about what is the biggest thing that's starting to slow down for him in terms of this system. Check out this clip.
I think at first, when you call plays, you're just generally trying to picture the whole play and concept. And now, after the first few days of practice, it's all coming together. And knowing my reads, knowing exactly the timing of everything, and knowing how Coach McAdoo wants it done. That's really the biggest thing for me is I'm not just hearing plays and be like, okay, take care of the ball, go through this read. I'm hearing the play and I'm understanding why Coach McAdoo's calling it and what he wants to get accomplished.
And there you have it. And that makes a ton of sense. And I like this answer from Baker because he said that, okay, hey, the first thing is just learning exactly what the play is drawn up in your head. The next one is going through your reads, knowing exactly where you may want to go when the coverage gives you this certain look, because certain plays work better against certain coverages, and certain coverages trigger in your mind to know that, hey, if they're in cover 3, I may need to go to the hook curls right behind the linebacker when the guy's running up the seam. Not to get too in the weeds in terms of football, but certain coverages and certain pre-snap reads trigger certain mindsets and mentalities going into each play, and each play is designed to attack a certain coverage a certain type of way. So Baker Mayfield said he's past the part of knowing what to do, but he's getting to that point where it's starting to click for him in terms of, okay, hey, this is where I go when I do this. This is how I do that. This is where I want him to look to first before I turn my head and come back this way. So that's a good sign for him, because he's talking about those subtleties of a quarterback that kind of grows over time, but for it to happen in such an accelerated period, it's tough for Baker. But for him to feel like he's getting up to speed slowly but surely, it's a good sign of how he progresses. I have no problem with them splitting reps, first team and second team for now. It's still early in camp. There's a lot of work still ahead until Baker can really figure out what things are going on with, and until anybody particularly separates themselves. Because from what I saw from that first week of camp, nobody really separated themselves. Now, you do give Mayfield the benefit of the doubt because he just got here, and Darnold, you hold him to a little bit higher standard because he's been around. In my opinion, for this competition overall, Baker Mayfield, his leash may be a little bit longer. Sam Darnold will have to win this competition by a certain margin. How big that margin needs to be, I don't know. But because to me, if it's a tie, you got to give it to the new guy, Baker Mayfield, who you've seen have some highs. You know what he's capable of when he's healthy and clicking on all cylinders. We saw that in 2020. Darnold, we have not seen those ceilings. We've seen him play good in the preseason and not really translate over to a full slate of a season. So, like I said, a tie is going to go to the new guy, which is Baker Mayfield. So for Baker Mayfield to lose this competition, it's going to take a wide margin. You guys let me know down below in the comments, what do you think it'll take for Baker Mayfield to be the full-fledged starter before anything happens as far as week 1? Obviously, we don't want to drag this thing out too long, but what do you think Baker probably needs to do? I've been posting a lot of videos about them in practice, so let me know what you think Baker Mayfield needs to do to kind of separate himself a lot sooner from Sam Darnold so he can get those first team reps early on. And last but not least, we got to talk about the Cleveland Browns just a little bit, because they're an opponent, as the judge ruled today that Deshaun Watson should be suspended 6 games and he will miss the Carolina Panthers game. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds of what happened. We've talked about Watson on this channel enough during the offseason in the process when they were pursuing him, but he'll be out for week 1. So we'll be facing presumably Jacoby Brissett unless something else happens and the Browns go after a Cam Newton or Jimmy Garoppolo or somebody else. Nevertheless, I like our chances a lot better without a top flight quarterback on their team like Watson. I want our defense to step up and really help things out. It's still not going to change anything about the Browns. They're going to want to try to run the ball. They're going to want to try to do play action. They're going to try to play to their strengths on defense. Also, we're going to have to battle out and bring our best. But having a guy like Watson missing week 1 really helps the Panthers' chances. It also helps the Panthers' chances that the Cleveland Browns are actually 1-18-1. You heard that right. Record of 1 win, 18 losses, and 1 tie since 2002 in their opening games. That's crazy. I really like our chances a lot more then, especially at home. I think the Panthers have a chance to do this, but we'll talk about this game a lot more as it gets closer. You guys let me know down below in the comments how you feel about Watson getting those 6 games, and how do you feel like the Panthers' chances are, which we probably assumed he was going to be out for that first game, but let me know how you feel about the Panthers' chances now that it's confirmed that Watson will be missing that first game. But as usual, I'll be doing this Panthers news today on a weekly basis going forward. This will be a new thing that I'll be doing as a permanent staple of a Necessary Blunt and Sports Talk. So make sure you guys are subscribed to stay up to date and stay in the loop for the Carolina Panthers news and updates from your boy. All right? So make sure you are subscribed if you have not. Hit the comments down below. You know we'd like to chat it up, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.